Oh, shoot. What are stains on this? Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly is turning 10 years old. At least from when it was released. That's a bit strange, given that I remember when I was 15, and it doesn't feel that long ago. This has become one of my favorite albums of all time, arguably a top 5. It probably sits at number 4 if I were to go on a little ranking system, because it's that good. And with the whole Kendrick and Drake beef, and with Kendrick doubling down on his responses and winning, and then doing a whole victory run with the Super Bowl and the pop out show and everything, more eyes have been on his discography, and it seems that a good portion of his albums have charted again into the top 100. Although I did not really see To Pimp a Butterfly there. I think I saw Good Kid, Mad City was on there, Mr. Morale, and Damn got back on, along with GNX. So if I were to go back, I don't think Good Kid, Mad City left the charts at all. I think it's just been there consistently. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to make a lot of videos already on the 10th anniversary of To Pimp a Butterfly, because when it was released, people were already anticipating that it would become a classic in the future. And I could go on and on about what this album means and its messages and how it flows, which is amazing. But I think there are already hundreds of people doing that already, so I don't want to sound like a broken record and explain the whole thing over and over again. Why am I cracking? Why is my voice cracking? It's because of albums like To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City that made me intimidated of Kendrick as a musician. I don't know, there's just something about it. It's the same thing with Stevie Wonder and Nick Drake, where they made 2 or more albums that I feel are 10 out of 10. So looking at those as benchmarks are scary to look at, especially as somebody who makes music and is trying to make projects that are on a similar, or at least on their level. That's a hard ask. But yes, it was because of To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City, and even like Mr. Morale, that made me question why Drake would go after Kendrick. Because I think pretty much everybody who knew Kendrick's music and who were loosely listening to it knew that he would curb stomp him, in a way. And now this is just a victory lap for him. But yes, onto the subject of the record. Even though I said I wouldn't explain it, I'll just go about it a little bit in detail. People are more in depth than me, and I'm bad at explaining, but I'll try my best. This is the 3rd album from Kendrick, though unofficially I'm sure he'll call it his 2nd album, because Section 80, I believe he sees as a mixtape, and then Good Kid, Mad City is his proper first. So this is his 2nd. This specific album, I think I have a bias towards because it incorporated jazz rap a lot. It has features and people who help produced from, again, both producers and musicians that I look up to a lot, like Flying Lotus and Thundercat are on here. Like These Walls has Thundercat's music DNA written all over it. But unlike Good Kid, Mad City, which focused more so on his struggles with growing up in Compton, this came within that sort of 3-year period from 2012 when it was released up until when T-Pab was released. When he started to see success, I think it hit him a lot later, knowing that the life that he talked about and grew up with in Compton still went on. Because despite his accolades, life is still moving on in the backgrounds. Like you can see on the track You, where he talks about his failures and his guilt and his survivor's guilt, and his disappointment in himself in trying to be a good person and a good family member or a good friend. That's where that scream came from. In context, it's heartbreaking, but by itself, it is funny when applied to memes. And given that this is a concept album, each track that this goes through has Kendrick reading a poem, which gradually builds upon itself, and each new passage that he adds relates in context to the song. And then it reveals something at the very end, which I do not want to spoil because it is amazing. Am I a person who necessarily understands in full context his struggles? No, not necessarily. I'm not somebody who's in that position. But I do appreciate that he's able to be so transparent in his music and that he's able to lay out and visualize and provide context for his mindset and the way he thinks, his struggles, and how they are put back into here. Not only is this really fun to listen to, because when I first heard it, each single song grabbed me by the neck and then put a chokehold and threw me on the table and then threw me out of the building. But the message it tries to convey of Kendrick taking what he's learned and then wanting to go back and share all of his information and knowledge with Compton, and the simultaneous creative and musical risks that are taken here. And because it's executed so well, this is why it is, even though it hadn't turned 10 up to this point, it is considered a classic and will go down as one of the greatest albums of all time, period, in music. Is that everything I had to say? I don't know if that was everything I had to say, but we have inner liner notes and everything. I should probably show this, shouldn't I? We have inner liner notes, which show all of the credits on each individual song. This is great. Oh, they even have Braille. Wow. But yes, I'm scatterbrained, but I guess I'll just go through some generalizations. My favorite song on here might be How Much a Dollar Cost. Just because as it builds and as the reveal happens at the very end, I get goosebumps every time. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'm so scattered. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. The first song I heard on this album was King Kunta because one of my best friends, Riley, is a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. He was before me, and he played a good portion of separate songs from each of his albums just in a playlist. And I remember latching onto King Kunta thinking, what is this sound? This is such a stark contrast from what I heard on Damn. And then I went and heard everything, and wow. Wowie wow. What can I say except happy 10-year anniversary since your release to Pimp A Butterfly. Kendrick Lamar will go down as one of the greatest rappers and possibly musicians of all time. This is just a further victory lap. And he's still going. Will he reach the same creative heights that he did on Good Kid, Mad City or To Pimp a Butterfly? It's possible that he can. Most likely he can, but right now he just wants to do his own thing and push himself in different avenues. Even if it doesn't translate as well as what he had done on his previous albums, but he no longer needs to prove himself. GNX is a good example of how now he's just having fun and flexing and being a chameleon on different styles. Is that everything? I don't know if that's everything. Here's the back. Handwritten. Yeah, people are more qualified than me to explain these. I just love this record for how it sounds and how context and information is portrayed and given. Not only is it very cathartic, it's fun to listen to. It is really fun. Good Kid, Mad City makes me sad. It makes me feel melancholic at the end. But this one, I guess because it's it talks about a broader, wider range, it's a little easier to stomach. But the melancholy does not is not as sinking as the end of Good Kid, Mad City. I'm just rambling at this point. Happy 10 years to Pimp a Butterfly. More people will make videos like this. Just wanted to give my 2 cents. Or dollar. Okay, you can go now. You don't have to be here. I only expected you to stay in my house for like 4 hours at most, and you have been overstaying for 3 hours. I get that you're talking to a lot of people, but I don't know, it's getting late, so I think you really should go. Or if not, I can actually, you know what? Since it's late, why don't you, I have a guest area where you can sleep in, so I'll just fold out a futon or something so that you can sleep. And then we'll have breakfast in the morning. That sounds fun. Alright, yeah, we'll do that. Alright, have a good night. Or day. Sleepover, where they come over at 3 a.m. And you're like, I want to go to bed at like 1 p.m. while the sun is still up.